This is Audible. Audible presents A Tale of Two Games, narrated by Rendan, the Elden Man, featuring Brenthal, his last Dark Souls 3 invader ever created, and the Storm Saint, Herald of Storm Hill. What's up, everybody? New Mike Rendan here, just spreading some holiday cheer in Dark Souls 3 to the lonely hosts and phantoms who have languished, again, all alone ever since Elden Ring came out. Just doing a couple of Dark Souls 3 invasions, actually kind of enjoying the activity. I did not think when I came back to play this game, when I just got the itch to play it not too long ago, that there would be this kind of activity, but in Irithyll, in the swamps, in Ariandel, in the Ring City, there are still invasions to be had, much to my surprise. In Pontiff as well, but I don't need to mention to anybody here that Pontiff will probably always be active and also always hell. So don't go there unless you really, really want to and are prepared for it. I got the urge not too long ago to do a couple of Dark Souls 3 invasions. And it's not something I'll be doing incredibly consistently, but I probably will be sprinkling it in every once in a while. I am really enjoying coming back and doing this. But for those of you that want to go ahead and skip to the Elden Ring content, I'll include a timestamp down below for you to do so. However, if anyone wants to hang out and watch some Dark Souls 3, I'm glad to have you, and I hope you enjoy this part as well. So interestingly enough, I put this character together before I knew anything about Elden Ring. And if you look carefully at the fashion I put on this build, you can see that I'm using the Millwood Knight's chest piece on Brenthal. And I just found it really interesting and kind of cool that coming back to this, I realized I had picked an armor set piece that would end up matching so well with the theme and main concept of Elden Ring. You see that the Great Tree, the Spirit Tree as it was known in Dark Souls 3, and how it ties in so neatly with the Erd Tree from Elden Ring. I just thought it was a neat little tidbit, and it felt really cool to invade with this after coming back from Elden Ring. I was really rusted coming back to this. I don't think I was prepared for just how different it would feel. Not only is there no jumping, but I'm just eating R1s from curved greatswords there in the face, as you can see. But man, I did not care. I was having so much fun. This is actually the first invasion I did, I think, coming back into the game. Just, see here a guy wearing the Morn set with the, I think it's the Murakumo, and I'm using a curved sword here. I hope you'll forgive me for using a curved sword. It was just really nice to use one in Dark Souls 3 from when they were really good, even after they were nerfed from the beginning of Dark Souls 3, because man, they were overpowered. You see me there using a little bit of R1 spam, no more than 5 R1s because I'm not toxic. But man, yeah, it was really fun. This just getting back into like a little 1v1 invasion versus just a solo host. I've gotten really used to Elden Ring invasions fighting against more than one person, but some of these hosts, you can just tell like they're used to fighting invaders, and it was a good time. He's still got more resources than I do, and so I had to play it carefully, but it's still a tough fight, and it's a fun fight. I understand why they went with no solo host invasions in Elden Ring, and actually now, after everything has been said and done, and we've been in the game for 10 plus months, I agree with the decision that they finally made. I think it was a better decision for the community, but I won't lie and say I don't miss these a little bit. Just man, that first fight was really fun. So coming back and playing Dark Souls 3 kind of got me thinking about the track that I took to get to where I am today, and just all the steps it took me to get here. I started playing Dark Souls 3, I think it was back in 2017. I really don't think it was as late as 2018, so about 5 years or so. And I remember looking at it, watching my friend play it, and it wasn't necessarily that I thought the game was too hard or looked too hard, but I was looking at the mechanics and like the strict resources you had, and using those to get through specific areas and through gauntlets of enemies, and I was like, I just don't know if this game is for me. I was really into RPGs, and I was having a good time playing things like The Witcher, and I was like, you know what, these are fun. These are my games. I don't really think this one's for me. I'll pass on it. Well, it came back around. My friend convinced me to play it. And after getting into it and getting, my ass handed to me by, PvE and some bosses for a little while, I realized that I did enjoy it and I liked it. I beat Dark Souls 3, and then I went back and played Bloodborne, and then I played Dark Souls 2, and that came back around till 2018 when I played Dark Souls Remastered and Demon Souls after that. I think the biggest hesitation I had in the beginning from starting Souls games was not so much, again, that I thought they were hard, but they kind of had a mystique about them. And kind of what I mean by that is, it's almost like I was gatekeeping myself from playing the games because of what I'd heard about the game and my understanding of what the game was just from its reputation. And I think that, a lot of people maybe have that same effect when they first hear about Souls games or someone recommends that they try it, and I think that plays against people, more people trying out getting into these games. Obviously, Elden Ring has made this franchise and this, I guess you can call it, its own area of gaming, much more prevalent and popular. But I really think that this still kind of exists to this day. People that play PvE still have a lot of issues, or not all people, but a lot of people still have an issue with invaders that don't understand why they're a part of the game, even though they've been part of these games since, Dark Souls 1, since Demon Souls when it came out, just so many years ago. And, I wasn't even really thinking about that at the time. I was just, again, thinking about, watching them play through the level, I was like, why do people put themselves through this kind of gameplay? Like, it just seems like monotonous and just infuriating. Like, you're just getting, there's an enemy that just came around a corner and just one-shot you, like, and you're nearly breaking your controller in frustration. Why is that fun? How is that fun? But it is fun. And I didn't realize how much fun I could have with these games until I started actually getting into more the PvP aspect of it. And that began in what I think is kind of the way it begins for a lot of people. Just summoning friends to play as phantoms with you in the game, going through the level, and then getting invaded, attacking that invader all at one time, which I guess is kind of like ganking for the most part. And I guess to a certain extent it is, but I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. But any time that my friends would die and I was left alone, not all the time, but a lot of the time, I would just immediately get destroyed. And I was like, man, I can't believe that was bullshit. He shouldn't have beat me like that. I don't know what he's doing. I think that was a glitch, or it was lag, or his internet's bad. I don't know, whatever. And then I'd find out, and I'd be so curious the entire day what he did. I would spend the entire day thinking about it, and then I would look at the wiki about it, and then I would start watching YouTube videos about it, and then I would, eventually work my way up to being like, okay, well, you know what? I don't like these invaders. I'm gonna fight them one-on-one, or maybe I'll fight them with, one other person. I'm gonna put on Way of the Blue, or not Way of the Blue Sentinel Company. And so I did that. I mean, I started doing some Blue Sentinel invasions, and I was like, yeah. I started winning against some invaders by myself sometimes, with host help a lot. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm getting good at this. I'm pretty good. And then, I would come across an invader every once in a while that would, be very good, and beat me in a really cool way. And I'd be like, man, that was pretty cool. I kind of want to do that. And then somewhere along the line, after that, I picked up that fateful item that we all eventually, touch, when we've finally come to the realization that it was where we were supposed to be the entire time. That red eye orb, I tried it, and man, I have never descended into an obsession so healthy and unhealthy in my life ever since then. I have never stopped. It's been 5+ years, and I'm still invading and having so much fun. If this story seems familiar to you, it's probably because you're every invader in this game who does this consistently. You get such a rush from doing this, and just build crafting, theory crafting, winning an invasion, losing an invasion. That was a good invasion. You live for it. You breathe it. You just can't stop thinking about it. You incessantly, all day long, think about things you can add to it. How can you tweak it? What can you do stat-wise? What can you change? Oh, someone used this cool incantation spell in Dark Souls 3. It was sorcery or pyromancy, whatever. That was really cool. What could I do with that? Could I put that on this build? Could I make a new build around that? Look at that weapon. There was so much, and to this day, it has never left me. That it's just a fire. It just doesn't go away. It's always there. I'm always thinking about it. I can't stop doing it. And it all started with Dark Souls 3. To an extent, even without PvP, these games would be something I would return to pretty constantly. But without the invasions, without the PvP, it would never have obsessed me this much. It would never have grabbed me this much. There's just something about this mechanic. And I know I don't need to explain it to people who invade pretty consistently, but maybe to the people who are just getting into it. It is rewarding. It is worth it. It is fun. I'm not doing this to be toxic. I'm not doing this to ruin people's day. A lot of the times, even if they say they didn't enjoy it afterwards, these people, look at this right now, these guys are throwing themselves into this fight. In their heart of hearts, they're enjoying this too. They want to win. They want to beat me, and I want to beat them. And that's the fun. That's the fun. They beat me or I beat them. And either way, whoever wins, whoever gets who, that person is going to they're going to feel better. They're going to get that little high after winning an invasion. And even if you lose, you'll be like, you might still get that high. And you definitely will next time be like, okay, well, what can I do better? Dark Souls 3 has brought me into these games. And it allowed me to have endless thousands of hours of enjoyment that's continued to Elden Ring to this day. And I just want to give a shout out to this game. I love this game, and I love everyone who loves it like I do. Alright, welcome to the Elden Ring portion of this video. For those of you that stuck through the Dark Souls 3 part of the content, again, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you actually got some entertainment from it. I won't be playing Dark Souls 3 a whole lot, but every once in a while it's nice to go back and do that in Invasions, and I'm creating a new character in that game now, so I might play it a little bit every once in a while, we'll see. Notice that I get a co-invader in this invasion here in Elden Ring. By the way, this is the Storm Saint. Aesthetically, he kind of plays into the Sekiro vibe, and actually the track that you'll be hearing for the video is Genichiro's track from that game, which is probably my favorite fight. I think for a long time I was stuck between him and Ishin Ashina, but I just remembered how much I struggled with Genichiro. I think I fought him like 30 times before I finally beat him. For me, him in that game was kind of really the defining moment where I realized that Sekiro is just a masterpiece. Not only from like just a boss mechanics perspective, but just the fighting was so good, and they just kind of like invented it out of nowhere. So it was really, really good. Again, so I wanted to create a character that kind of played into the Sekiro vibes, and also a little bit into like the Storm Vale and Storm Hill kind of aesthetic. So he's the natural product of that. Again, kind of going back to this invasion, working with a co-invader, I have to be very careful of my swings. My whole goal is to keep him alive and keep the other Phantom Hero from getting on his back too much, or I'm sorry, his or her back too much, I shouldn't assume, and just make sure that, that they don't have a chance to gang up on them and take them off the field, which will make my job in this invasion much harder. The host obviously has the Dragon Halberd, which is a very good chase down tool. The Phantom here has a less good chase down tool. He's using a shield with an ultra great sword, so he's kind of the weak link in this, so we're going to try to take him out. Unfortunately I did that on purpose. I've been experimenting with the Crag Blade a little bit. The Ash of War is kind of hard to hit because people see it coming, but I find if I lock on to one host or Phantom or the other, and then all of a sudden when I'm starting the animation of the flight, if I change trajectory halfway through and target someone else, a lot of times I can actually surprise the person and hit them. There, it did work, and it actually did do a lot of damage to the host, which allowed us to separate the two of them, which eventually did lead to that phantom kill. But again, I did a lot of damage to my co-invaders, so kind of a risky move. It does work out in the end, but be very careful with that. You don't want to be doing a lot of damage, obviously, to the person who's on your team in an invasion. As you can see, this is about to be wrapped up right now, chasing him down with the Gride Blade, because we've chased him for like 5 minutes. Did a couple L1 whittles there to introduce a panic roll, so that I could break his reaction chain to my R1s, and it worked in the end. So that was a pretty good invasion. Please remember to level your vigor. This first Phantom here will die because he did not level his vigor. Level your vigor. Level your vigor. Level your vigor. It's very important. Host here is named Prince of Death. I wonder if he's an Int Faith build, and his Phantom is going to use the Black Knife. Oh, yep, he is indeed a Int Faith build. He has Ancient Death Rancor, and he's going to be casting Distress of Light here in a minute. Also, the Phantom is going to use the Dark Cloud incantation right there. Clearly the best incantation in the game, and allows me to hit him or her through it with Stormblade. Very, very good. You should use that. What is good is actually Distress of Light, and I have kind of memed on Distress of Light for a long time now because I didn't think it was a very good incantation. It costs something like 3 FP to cast. If you level it the right way, it can do about 300 damage per hit. So if you hit them, anybody, an invader, a host, or a phantom twice with it, can do around 600 damage or maybe more for the cost of 6 FP. And if you do 600 damage to somebody, more often than not, they're going to use a flash to recover that health. So 6 FP for 1 flash is a very, very good resource trade. I will no longer be making jokes about Distress of Light anymore, and I will be looking for places to put it on a current build or a new build in the future. So I would look at that if you haven't looked at it already. Have a blue in this world, gonna slowly pull myself back and lure them into the room here with the page. And they will make a critical mistake here in a minute. This blue is going to be overzealous and try to come and attack me. And the Phantom will as well, but guess who that leaves alone with the page? Their host. Guess how many hosts die to pages in this game because they're walked through this game? Like 99%. So that page makes very short work of that host. A little tidbit of advice, if you're a blue and a Phantom, don't leave your host alone with a page. I would take a page in 99% of invasions, even over some co-invaders, and that's nothing against co-invaders. Page is just really, really good. I didn't really used to like doing invasions in the sewers here, but recently, now that I've learned the layout of it pretty effectively, and I know where all the holes are, I know the ways through the pipes and where everything leads, it's really kind of risen in my areas to invade, and that's because a lot of people do not know the layout of this area. And I find that I can pretty effectively pen people into dead ends, separate the party, and really just kind of pick people off one by one because I understand this level, and a lot of people don't. It's pretty fun. You got a lot of good PvE in here that's very strong. The imps do a lot of damage. There's a lot of status effects going on here. You see with the big plants, there's ladders. There's all sorts of things that can really help out an invader that I didn't really give enough credit to in the beginning. So this is kind of a rising area for me. And you know, aesthetically, it's kind of a cool place to invade. Reminds me a lot of the depths, or the Forsaken Depths in Dark Souls 1. You see here a blue is going to come in and save this poor host. Unfortunately for the host, the blue, while he has kind of a decently scary build with 2 Eclipse Totals, he has like 500 health. So a whiff of my breath would take out 3/4 of his health. So the host is in no better place. In fact, he's probably in a worse place than he was before. So again, I will say it, please level your vigor. Please level your vigor. Please, if you're a blue, I'm helping you out, level your vigor. It will help you out and you will live longer. Your build will be way more cool if I get to see it longer and you don't die immediately. Like, see right there, I sniped him, he had 519 health. You know, but then again, I guess if they level vigor, how would they have the 40 to 50 mind they need to cast their spells constantly and incessantly? So I guess maybe I'm the one who doesn't really know how to play this game. Maybe the mind is better than the body. A healthy mind, so to say, and an unhealthy body is the way to be. So I think maybe I have it wrong. All right, here's another one in Liurnia of the Lakes. As you can see, I have 3 people coming at me. This is most definitively a gank. They are all waiting by the crab shack. The food there I hear is very good. They have oysters on special. They have some nice shrimp cocktails to drink, and the host and phantoms just sit back there and enjoy those while they wait for invaders to come in, so they can gank them and teabag them, and then go back to having their nice wine cocktails after the event's done, and they can just repeat, rinse and repeat over and over again. But I don't like shrimp cocktails, so I decide to pull them away from that crab shack and bring them out into the mean flooded streets of New Orleans here, and try to kite them out to some of the big bad shrimp that whose cousins they just ate, to get a little payback on these probably low tipping host and phantoms here. In all seriousness, this is not a good place to fight people, especially not by that crab shack if you're fighting 3 people. So what you're going to want to do is kite this party back towards the big shrimp over here, and they will very, very effectively tear apart this entire gank really fast. Now you need to be careful because their spit, or their piss spit, apparently, because I think it's actually the urine. Apparently, I heard somewhere the video is what they spit, and that could be wrong. But either way, it does a shit ton of damage, not only to them but to you. So you need to be careful of that. If you're by the host and phantoms and they're shooting that at you too, they're going to hit you with it. But if you use it the right way, there is no more effective gank destroying PvE in this game than these big shrimp. So that's what we're trying to try to do. You can see there's a lot of spell spam, and I'm getting chased by a Rivers of Blood user. GG to all the Rivers of Blood users out here that are still sticking with Rivers of Blood after all the nerfs. You clearly didn't you wanted to stick with the original build you had, and it had nothing to do with the fact that it was the strongest weapon in the game in the beginning, and you just haven't done anything else or had any original thoughts since then. It's just because you are non-meta and you like Rivers of Blood, so kudos to y'all. But again, you see here now we have the shrimps engaged. They're going to start hitting on these phantoms, doing some damage. I'm in a better place now. I still have 4 flasks, so I'm feeling good. I'm going to wait for them to really start whittling down this party. But I get a little overzealous here, and I think I'm going to get hit by the spit in a second too. I get a little bit more mindful, need to step back. But we get 1 phantom down, and that's good. So now there's only 2 left. And who knows what the other phantom is doing. I'm going to get on the host. Weeb Commander here, Mr. Weeb Commander, is going to do the old crab roll. He's going to roll 30 times in a row, start trying to react to my rolls. So I'm going to start mixing in some Whittle Waggle L1s to make him panic roll, and so I can just kind of start getting the chase down on him. You see here he's done like 150 rolls in a minute. He's really getting his roll steps in, and he just gives up here because that's what happens when you break up a gank. Alright, let's do a little more kiting. You see this host and phantom aggressively running towards me. This means at least one of them, probably the phantom, does a lot of damage and is probably overleveled. It's that overconfidence that's so keen and is seen so clearly when you have a friend who is level 500 with you. So, host takes a lot of damage from me, I can tell. Get a little idea of his vigor. It's not incredible. He's going to start taking a bunch of damage. He's going to back off. But his phantom is just spamming spells at me. Is wearing Lionel's armor. Anytime you see a big fat mage with a lot of armor on, casting spells as I'm in a menu and not hitting me outside of his range, you know that there's something going on with them. They're a little sus. But we're going to engage and see how much damage he does. Takes a bit of damage. He doesn't do a ton on Moonveil, but he still has Moonveil, and I'm betting his spells hit me a lot harder than that. So we're gonna not play around with him. We're gonna put on the Knouted Kiba with Spinning Slash. I'm gonna see if I can bleed him out real fast. Anything with like a decently high bit of damage is good for overleveled phantoms. The Dashing Saint was talking about buffable Ashes of War for overleveled phantoms the other day, something like Sacred Blade or Lightning Slash. You probably won't hit them with the Ash of War itself, but what they will do is they'll put a pretty good amount of damage buff in just one type of damage on a weapon. Take something like a lower leveled invader like this guy. He's the Storm Saint is 63. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video. He's 63 with plus 12 plus 5. Any, you should always have a weapon that can do a lot of damage or is buffable with something like that. Again, Sacred Blade or Lightning Slash on a weapon can add a lot of damage to it and allow you to put out enough damage to deal with overleveled phantoms like that. And as you can see here, now that that phantom is gone, the host is he's doing okay, or they're doing okay, but they're not really all that intimidating anymore. But they are fighting, so I'll give them that. I appreciate a good fight and someone who puts up a challenge and doesn't run away after the phantom is dead. So yeah, I guess I'll say GG to the host here. This was a really fun fight. This host and this phantom, throughout this entire invasion, it was no joke. It was a blast. I really had a good time. The phantom is using dual katanas, so he's power stancing those, and the host is using Radahn's. He's doing obviously a Radahn cosplay. Now, I like the. I think the phantom is doing kind of a Virgil cosplay, which is also a little bit neat. Just a fun big bash, right? Just a big old strength guy bonking me in the head with two giant colossal curved swords. While his phantom tries to hit me from the side with Uchigatana buff, which I respect because he's casting spells. He's not using Moonveil. So I mean, yeah. Shout out to this guy defying the try-hard meta of Moonveil in favor of just unsheathed, magic-buffed Uchigatana. This guy is cool in my book. Both of these guys, or girls, I need to stop assuming, are great in my book. But I gotta play this very carefully because while they're not doing a lot of damage, the combined damage they could do, in addition to blenders and just hit stun, could really, really, really take me out. So I'm playing in and out, rolling through those super gravitases of the Radahn swords there, and really using the wow, I can't speak today at all. The Nagakiba with Sword Dance and Uchigatana to do a little chip damage here and there when I could. I haven't really tried out Power Stance katanas before, but they're kind of fun, actually. I don't think I'm going to use them a lot, but for this character, they made a little sense in Invasions, and they were a nice switch up, and I really enjoyed them. You can see there I'm continually getting a little chip damage against both of the host and phantom, trying to get them to use up the Restus. I'm down to about 2 myself, so at this point I need to start really making some gains in this invasion, see if I can knock one of them off. But even if I didn't, at this point I was having so much fun that it was worth it to me. But I'm really starting to get some damage going, and I take out the phantom there. Again, GG's to you. Virgil won't pay. That was a great fight. I really appreciated it. So now just here with the host, and a quick piercing fang will finish them off. I started off this invasion on the back foot from the very beginning. I was not playing that well in this. I did a lot of initial damage, but that was kind of the extent of it. As you see here, I'm using Lightning Slash on the Omen Cleaver, which does a lot of damage, but again, the R1s are pretty choreographed to people who are pretty good and know how to roll through these attacks. And I keep trying, and mistakenly trying to use the Omen Cleaver Lightning Slash to hit them, or to at least get some, I'm thinking that I can hyper armor trade with them, but they just cut me off the animation before I can finish it. So that hyper armor doesn't really exist on Lightning Slash. I don't know why it doesn't. You would think that Lightning Slash, if you can't get the lightning bolt afterwards, which I think is already bullshit, you would think that at least you could get some hyper armor on the Ash of War itself, so that people can't feel like they can just run in and hit you in the middle of that without getting smacked themselves. Again, I really think From Software, you're not listening, but you should listen, and you should make that Ash of War have hyper armor so that people can't just cut you out of it. Again, I'm not doing well in this invasion. I'm on the back foot. I'm trying to get a little run, turn and burns in here, but the Phantom has the Commander's standard halberd, which is very, very good. Probably the longest halberd in the game. Also buffs I can't remember what exactly it does, but I'm pretty sure it buffs the attack power and defenses of the host and the Phantom here. So I'm trying to run and get a co-invader who gets blendered immediately. So that means that, I'd get some health back, but they also get some flask back, so that's bad. And so again, I'm thinking at this point in time, what can I do? How can I win this invasion? But all I'm coming up with is I gotta run. I gotta get away. I gotta do a little damage. I gotta keep getting in and out. I gotta find something that can turn this around. Because they're wise to me. These are decent players. They have my number. I'm not. This is not going well at all. But I remember in this area there's a good bit of decently strong PvE. Maybe if I can lure them into some of like the little ghost warriors here, they can distract them enough for me to do some damage or take out the host or phantom. But no such luck. There's not a lot in this area. The archers aren't really seeming to be firing either, so that's not great. But then a little lesson in respecting the PvE. Guess what I see there out of the corner of my eye? The lightning balls. And I know how strong and how deadly those things are. And the host and the phantom here should remember that, but they're too keen on killing me, and they forget how much damage those things can do. And all that mistake is all I needed. That overconfidence was all I needed to turn a really, really bad losing invasion into a winning one. So use your PvE and use that overconfidence against them. Speaking of overconfidence and phantoms in your world, you should always be careful about what friends and phantoms you summon in. And if those phantoms won't take a lightning bolt for you as the host, maybe you should summon in other phantoms. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Also, shout out to Drunk Souls for recommending this new mic that I got. And I'll add a link to his channel down below. He makes pretty cool content. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Bye. Peace. You know, whatever. All of it. See you later.